A new Division I women's soccer poll has been released, and there were some shakeups. It goes as follows: Arkansas with all 80 first place votes. Duke, North Carolina, Wake Forest, Michigan State, Florida State, Ohio State, and Mississippi State. Ohio State and Mississippi State are tied at number 7, by the way. Somebody has to be clear at number 7, somebody has to be clear at number 8, but that's just me. Stanford, Santa Clara, Iowa, Utah State, Pepperdine, Colorado, Memphis, Auburn, Notre Dame, Cal, Penn State, Georgetown, USC, University of Southern California, Texas, TCU, South Carolina, and Virginia. Now, receiving vote teams goes as follows: St. Louis with 13, Texas Tech with 9, Xavier with 8, UCLA with 8, Rutgers with 4, Georgia with 4, Rice with 4, Pitt with 1. Now, my top 10 for Division I women's soccer goes as follows. It is similar: Arkansas, North Carolina, Duke, Wake Forest, Michigan State, Florida State, Mississippi State, Ohio State, Stanford, and Santa Clara. Now, outside looking in, it is no particular order are the following teams: Iowa, Utah State, Pepperdine, Colorado, Memphis, Auburn, and Notre Dame. There are some top 25 showdowns between this poll to the next one. It goes as follows: number 25, Virginia; number 2, Duke; number 1, Arkansas; number 7, Mississippi State; number 6, Florida State; at number 4, Wake Forest; and number 23, TCU; at number 14, Colorado. Now, I'm going to go over like the RPI because it does matter for the NCAA tournament, and honestly, for those one bid leagues, you got to win those conference tournaments, if not a regular season, if you do not have a conference tournament at all. So the top 10 for RPI right now goes as far as like North Carolina, Michigan State, Arkansas, Wake Forest, Mississippi State, USC, University of Southern California, Iowa, Florida State, Penn State, and Ohio State. And those RPI rankings do matter, especially if you want to host potentially up to Elite 8 game, which I get you have to win the Sweet 16 game to think about going there. And obviously if you're the top seed and you lose in Sweet 16, then it goes to the highest seed. But you get the whole point about that here. And now I'm going to just go over like in general like 35 the 60 range on those teams. It's like Xavier, Colorado, Baylor, LSU, Rice, Texas A&M, Tennessee, Arizona, UConn, Clemson, Minnesota, St. Louis, SMU, Vanderbilt, Liberty, Washington, Texas Tech, UMass, Fairfield, Indiana, Memphis, Loyola Chicago, Boston College, Buffalo, Western Michigan, Princeton. But some of those teams I did not mention, like right after number 60, in all this, if you're in a one bid league, you're stuck. I mean, you got to win the conference tournament if you have one, if not win the regular season tournament if you do have one. And I get some conferences don't have conference tournaments and all this either, so you got to win as many games as possible in the regular season you have left. It's just as simple the matter is. And obviously, if you win your conference tournament, you're automatically in. So, regardless of the RPI saying in there, or make it that far, but even if you make it that far, it's not a guarantee you're going to get in. And you got to avoid bad losses, especially if you're trying to be like a host a Sweet 16 or Elite 8 game, because you know the Final Four in National Championship, they're a neutral site, as we all know. And it does potentially affect your seating where you're going to go for the first round game, and then in like the round of 32 and Sweet 16 game. Yeah, it does affect those matchups down the line, but obviously you got to win as much as possible. Ties do help some, but it doesn't help as much as wins, of course. But if you get like some quality wins in there, you should be fine. And it all depends about like the non-conference schedule anyway too. How did you do in those non-con games, or how quality are they when compared to everybody else? So you know, it's just another thing to monitor, and I get we still have some time before conference tournaments and all this, but I want to go over it now just to give some context into, and I would dare to say if you're more like, I think 35 through 40 are safer. I think so, but I don't know so. But definitely from 41 to 60, who knows? Probably if you're like 50 to 60 for sure, I would dare to say you're in bigger trouble. Especially if you're like 60 or below, as in like 61 or worse. Yeah, you're stuck. And if you have some ranked games on the schedule for those bubble teams, you got to win those games if you can. But tying does not do anything enough for you. But I know, for example, like in Baylor's case, they're playing at Texas Tech, yet Texas Tech is in first in their tied for first in the Big 12, yet the RPI says something else. So, you know, obviously a tie might hurt them still. It might hurt them. It might help them. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see after the game is done. But obviously a win for Baylor, for example, it would help the RPI more and then get closer to that 30 mark, like 35, 34, I would think. But we're going to have to wait and see what happens to all these games here, because these games do matter, especially for those bubble teams and the teams that want to host a Sweet 16 game or Elite 8 game down the line. And not just for these ranked versus ranked games, but everybody's games. Especially if you're like really close to the ranking and you're outside looking in for the ranking. So anyways, if you like this content, hit the like and subscribe button. See you guys later on the road to 7 subscribers. Of course, ultimate goal. It's 1,000 more, so my money out this course. Like a video, comment video really helps YouTube algorithms so more people see it. Sharing the video does help as well, so more people can watch. And if you're watching and subscribe, hit subscribe buttons for the notification bell as well. And I just want to briefly go over like 61 through 70 just to give some more context, like Ohio, Cal, Purdue, Dartmouth, James Madison, Bucknell, New Hampshire, Dayton, Denver, and Elon. And if you're like those like 30 through 40 teams, and all you have to do is just win. If you do well enough in the regular season and in your conference, and you win a few games in the conference tournament, I think you should be safe. I would think, or game at least one game or two. But we'll see what happens.